Hey, free thinkers. You know, I had a discussion the other day that I wanted to bring to people's address about missing your assignment. And people missing their assignment have to understand that, you know, when your car breaks down, you contact a mechanic. If you want to learn to fly a plane, you have to go to aviation school. If there's a leak in your house, you call a plumber. If you have a problem with lights in your house, you call an electrician. Where am I going with this? If you want to talk about marriage, talk to people who have been married for at least 20 years, 30 years. Me and my wife, we've been married 40 years. I met my wife at 19. I was 23 when we got married. And even back then, my wife understood the assignment, right? Because it's an assignment. People think that you could get married and then become a wife. That's something that you have to see to understand what it is to be a wife. A lot of people want the day, but don't want the responsibility after that, right? So when I say missing your assignment, there's roles in a marriage that a wife does and a husband does, right? But you can't get married and then try to figure out what you're supposed to do in this role. You're supposed to know what your role is in a marriage. And a lot of people do not understand that, right? So when I say women are in a supportive role, it's not a knock on women. I want you to understand that. It's not a knock on women to be in a supportive role. Because there's a lot of movies where the supporting actor or actress get more credit than the actual um, actor who's starring in the movie. You have a lot of movies like that. And that's what Academy Awards are for best supporting role. So a lot of women, in my married women, play a very significant supporting role in their marriages. Because for me, a lot of things that I brought to my wife's attention that I wanted to do in her supportive role, she says, whatever you do, I'm going to back you. Okay? Whatever you do, I'm going to back you. And that support is what made us where we are in our marriage. Now, marriage sometimes could be a disaster. Now, it's how you pick up the pieces. You don't pick up the broken pieces because you can't put that back together. But the pieces that you find that you can put back together, you could start all over again from where the disaster happened, right? Because you have memories and good ones where you could move forward. A lot of people don't want to do that. Now, I tell people about love in marriage, and love, people think, is buying you trinkets and buying you things. That is not love. Okay, love, believe it or not, is somebody giving their time, their, because that's something you can't get back, is time, right? Emotional well-being that they produce in this marriage, energy. These are things that you put into a marriage that you're not going to get those things back. But that's giving this to somebody willingly, okay? And if you're not willing to give your time and your energy to somebody willingly, then what are you signing up to become married for? Okay. These are the things, like I said, you're going to have to see in time. It doesn't happen overnight. Marriage does not happen overnight. Relationship builds, so is love. But you have to take your time if this is what you want in a marriage. Now, me being in this for 40 years, yes, we have had disasters that happen in our marriage, but we overcome it because we understand the assignment, right? I hear people say they ask God for a good man and a good woman, and they're still waiting. You see, a lot of people go with a shovel to go dig for gold, and then saying they don't want that piece. This piece is too small. I want a bigger piece. Instead of thinking about the small pieces that could add up to make you give you what you want. They want a man this height. They want a man this size. They want a man doing this. A man want a woman this size. A man want a woman on it. There are little pieces that you got to take from each nugget you get and weigh it out and see how much are you willing to put into this nugget. People are not willing to do that. They're not. After 5 years, we're not compatible. Marriage is not about competing. You're not competing. There's a head of the household and a supporting roles. What are you competing about? A lot of us are not willing to learn what marriage is about because you want to be the alpha in a marriage. And there's only one alpha in a marriage. It's like there's only one captain on a ship. There's co-captains, but there's only one captain in the ship. And if you're not willing at some point to relinquish that captain role and you want to play the captain role, then you get what the captain gets. You have to be willing to some part of this marriage, let the leader lead and the support role goes in place. But there's nothing wrong with the supporting role. My wife is in her supporting role have shown me what it is to be in a supporting role, and I credit her for that. I thank her for that, and I love her for that. Okay, because that allows me to be who I am. And believe it or not, when you support somebody, you get the benefits from that support. Because if we do good, you do good. If we do bad, you do bad. So in the supporting role, you could push that person to achieve what their goals are, and you'll see what happens when you push that person instead of sitting there always complaining and not doing your part, because everybody has a part in a marriage. Two alpha can't be in a marriage because you're going to argue until the sun comes up, but somebody's going to have to become the one that's going to be even keel. It could be the man or the woman. But at some point in the marriage, you're going to have to understand that the most important part in a marriage is does not come overnight. It may not come in 5 years. It may not come in 10 years. It may be 15 or 20 before you figure out what your role is in this marriage. But don't ever think that you could get married and start figuring out your role. You have to see from someplace. In my marriage, my wife learned this from her aunts that were married. We're trying to break their record. 50 years, 60 years that they're still together. Okay, so my wife watched her aunts and them in that role, so she know what to do when it's time to come into this marriage. And again, I'm going to explain to you what love is. I'm from the Caribbean, so while I may like a lot of American delicacy, I'm from the Caribbean. Now, to show you what love is, my wife learned how to make oxtails. My wife learned to make jerk chicken. My wife learned how to make ackee and saltfish. My wife learned to make so many authentic Jamaican meals, and she's American. Learned to make so many authentic Jamaican meals because she know that's what her husband like. That's somebody that's willing to go above and beyond for their spouse. And for me, I do everything in my power to make sure that what she wants, she gets. And trust me, she drives around in the Queen's chariot, if you know what the Queen's chariot is, right? So I just want to tell people, you have to work hard in your marriage to achieve what you want. It doesn't happen overnight. Free thinkers.